I feel that the debate about gun control mostly surrounds Joe and Mica. Mike and Nicholas have opinions such as Nicholas believes you can't stop all school shootings and/or gun-related violence with the same measures, but some tightening of the supply, being background checks and ending the gun shows. In some of these cases, there are examples of guns that were gotten illegally. Overall, Nicholas believes we need to build on our existing solutions before we branch out to new possibilities. Work on what is already accepted and just tighten the ropes. Mike feels the same way about finding ways to use the legislation on gun manufacturers. In addition to Nicholas and Mike's points, I however feel they were more into hearing what Joe and Mica had to say on the issues surrounding gun violence. For example, Mica is more concerned about why is the age so young to gain access to weapons like an AR-15, and why is it okay for people to have war chests in their homes. Whereas Joe feels that we need more laws that target gun violence and that which leads to mass shootings and constant death. Joe became very adamant in trying to convince his peers that legislation is a solution, whereas Mica tries to understand all aspects of the issues. She talks about the number of guns someone can have and why there's no limit. In addition, she tries to redirect the conversation away from the legislation point and find other opinions and solutions by bringing up other points like the shooter's father's response. Instead, Joe becomes aggressive in his rebuttal towards Mica and explains how the number is not the concern, it's the fact that the mental health cases are passing the test to receive weapons. Laws need to be made so ex-military and health-concerned people can't gain easy access to weapons. Joe's points always come back to saying laws are the solution. It's clear that Mica is willing to expand her knowledge on the issue, but gets shut down if she brings up anything but legislation being the solution. I feel that Joe was strong-headed in trying to prove his point that legislature needs to create laws that prevent gun violence. There was a time where Mica tries to introduce the response from the shooter's father, and Joe cuts her off to reiterate his stance on the issue. Joe says, "Here's the point though. The shooter followed the rules when he bought the weapons." Once again, forcing the attention back on to what can legislature do to control mass shootings and not take away the Second Amendment in the process. By Joe not being open to other solutions, he is demonstrating weak sense critical thinking. Mike chimes in with the fact that there are no easy answers, and legislation is not going to help. However, you can do arcane safety measures that gun manufacturers could be forced by legislation. He suggests trigger locks, fingerprinting, and shutting down gun shows. Overall, I feel that Mica was trying to grasp a better understanding on the issue, whereas Joe felt he needed to be right and convince his peers to believe in his solution. Mike and Nicholas had good points in helping provide other solutions and build on the already existing ones. However, I feel that Joe's attitude towards these other possibilities was negative, and that he was not receptive towards anything but making laws. This broke down the conversation, leaving most of his colleagues silent. Mica tried her best to stay calm and to be open to ideas, and allowed her fellow peers to present their ideas without interruption. Mica gave a chance to new possibilities.